Everybody, Fun Rich here with the vinyl finds. It's been about a month, a little bit longer than a month since I've done one. It's my second vinyl finds of the year. And I've got 10 records here. In fact, these 10 records are the 10 greatest records you can choose to start a new record collection. There's a lot of these videos going out, 10 great rock albums every collection needs and all this and all that. These are the 10. Start here. You can get the common stuff anytime. And we're going to start this off with the 2 records that came in this last week, and one even came in yesterday. This is the one that came in about a week ago, and it's the Jonestown Massacre. I believe this is their 3rd album. It's their first one that came out in '96. Jonestown Massacre released 2 albums in '95, 3 albums in '96, I think 1 in '97, maybe 1 in '99, something like that. But '96 was a busy year. I had all the Jonestown Massacre '90s records on CD. But I have gotten rid of most of my CDs because I don't really have a CD player anymore. And I figured, you know what? They're a favorite band of mine from the 90s. Probably my favorite band from the 90s. So, you know what? I'm going to try one of these reissues. This cost me $25. Double album. It said near mint. So, okay, I'm going to go with it. Guy had a 100% rating, and it's near mint. If this record was played, it was only played a couple of times. And it's fantastic, man. It's dead quiet. It's a great press. And I'm going to get a few more of his. I'll probably get the album that came out right after that. Their Satanic Majesty's Second Request. This album, it's got a 60s vibe to it. Some of the songs are really got a rhythm and blues kind of beat to it. I think Caress, is it? That one kind of sounded like a 60s rhythm and blues band. Then you got David Bowie, I Love You Since I Was 6. Now that sounds like Space Odyssey. Space Oddity. Some of the music in it. Anyways, this is a great album. And I'm going to get the one that came out after that next. And yeah, if you haven't heard Jonestown Massacre, give them a listen. In fact, I'm going to leave a link to one of the songs off of this. They've been called the best 60s band that isn't actually from the 60s. And that's a good description. They are fantastic. And the other newest addition is Fleshtones. Roman Gods is the name of the album. This is their first full-length album. I recently showed their first EP, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to check out their first album. And I was kind of surprised. It's not this. It's a little bit different. The first EP was kind of like straight up garage rock, like a lot of those 80s, late 70s, early 80s garage revival bands were doing. They were doing it like straight up, doing the garage rock thing kind of better than the bands from the 60s. This is a little bit different, man. There's some different songwriting and stuff going on here. And I'm going to have to delve into this a little deeper. I only listened to it once, and I was really surprised at what I was listening to. Now, these next 2 are 2 records that I showed in my last video, probably. This first one is Freak Out USA. And I did a short, well, I put up a short of basically what it was my first attempt at my last video. And I didn't get too far. It everything collapsed. I mean, I got shit balanced on shoe boxes, and 2 cologne bottles are keeping the camera in place. But anyways, Freak Out USA. I picked this up at Going Underground Records. These next 2 I picked up at Going Underground Records. And this, I saw it, and I saw the cover, and I go, oh, this is one of those 60s Exploito albums, you know? And it's on Sidewalk Records, which is a label started by Tim Kerb, which is associated, it's a subsidiary of Capitol Records. Some of this stuff was on some Tower releases. And Mike Kerb was behind a lot of those Exploito, or even soundtrack, 60 soundtrack records. And it kind of has that vibe to it. But what I noticed when I was in the store, you got the Glass Family on here, and I have an album by them. And then you have the Mugwumps, which, wasn't that the band? When they broke up, some became Mamas and Papas and the others Loving Spoonful? Or am I? And I kind of looked into some of these other ones, and Mom's Boys, that's a band that had a couple of singles on this label. But a lot of these songs and bands there's no other known recordings except for this. And then some of the songs they put on other comps. But yeah, it's pretty good, man. It's a pretty good comp. Better than a lot of them. And this one band here, The Hands of Time. I like the way you freak up. Man, The Hands of Time are pretty good. They do Psychotic Reaction. I mean, how many bands did that? Quite a few. And then they did I Like the Way You Freak Out. Really fuzzy guitars on there, 2 songs. And this is what the labels look like. The sun just went behind a cloud, so it's going to be one of them videos. And then I got this, Middle Class, Out of Vogue, the early material. And basically what this is, it's got the Out of Vogue EP, is the first 4 songs on side 1. And then it's got the TNN Sessions, 3 songs from that. And then you got 4 songs from the Scavenged Luxury EP. All these songs are great. All of them. And then it ends with 4 songs or early demos. Those are probably the roughest out of all of the tracks on here. I mean, they're fine for me. An audiophile might not like any of this, to be quite frankly. But yeah, this is a really good, man. I had sold my Out of Step 7-inch, probably for $450 or so. And I got this reissue for $24, say. So that's the direction that I'm going. And it came with this insert with a really cool picture of the Out of Vogue cover of their sleeve. These 2 girls in suburbia. And yeah, this really, really good sounding. And I mean, and if you want 10 records to start your collection, you do want to have some colored vinyl. Very nice. On Frontier Records. Just a fantastic, just really good. The Out of Vogue has been it's been labeled the first hardcore, American hardcore song. It's, you know, it was recorded basically the same time as Black Flag's first single. But yeah, very good. Very good stuff. And then I got 2 more. I got those when I sold some of my old punk records. And then a week later, I took in 10 records for exchange, and I got these next two, both from Going Underground Records again. And the first one I got is The Third Testament. I had no idea who these people are. The cover kind of stood out at me. I wanted to look at it. Then I saw it's on ESP Records, which was essentially a jazz label. And some of the jazz guys show records from ESP. I had only known them because the band The Fugs were on ESP. I have Pearls Before Swine record that's on ESP. So this is my second record from ESP. And it's The Gods. This is their third record. And they're missing one of the guys, Jay something. But it's got the three remaining guys. They bring in some friends. And it's a kind of a mess. I listened to the first couple of songs, like 10, 15 seconds with the phone up to my ear, and I go, yeah, I'm going to get this. Some of it sounds like those Holy Roller Monders. I have a record by those guys, Holy Rounders, or I don't know what. And it's kind of sounds like that. You got some people in here that don't know how to play their instruments, it sounds like. And they're just banging away on all kinds of percussion stuff. And it's really interesting. Then you got other songs like Walking Guitar Blues by Paul Thornton. And it sounds like a Bob Dylan, you know? And then the next song is by Jim McCarthy. And it's a kind of an acoustic song. It sounds like Turn On Oog, or what was that band from the UK? But yeah, and then you got other ones where you got The Multitude. It's a bunch of people here. And then you got The Dogs. And then they brought in their friends and recorded these songs, and then they filled it in with like solo stuff from each individual guy. But pretty interesting record. And very cool labels, really. Very interesting record, man. And then the second one I got is Sunday's reissue, and it's Graffiti. Now, I had seen this album cover before. I know the Sunday's label. I looked it up, and okay, this was originally released in '68. I'm going to get it without checking anything. Both of these records were like 20-something bucks. They were like, it was say $45 for both of them. And this is fantastic, man. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but this band were called The Hangmen before. And I have the album by The Hangmen. So I didn't realize I already had an album by these guys, you know? This one is a little more, it's psychedelic, but it goes into some proggy passages, and it's really well done, man. For 1968, this is a killer of a record. I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, if it was by some other bands, this would be a top-notch record of all time. But yeah, I highly recommend this, man. And again, this one comes on a clear Coke bottle vinyl. Very nice, dude. Sunday's music. The way they did the labels, like the ABC. Now, this record is in this sleeve, but I don't know, man. I've been seeing some videos of sleeves that let off gases and that. And that one looks like it might be in that category. Now, this next one, I bought because of Steve Carlson. Kind of. I bought this band's second album because of Steve Carlson. It was one of his favorites from 2024, and I liked it so much. I went and looked online, and I found their first record for, it was like $22. All these records, man, most of them are in the $20 range. This one I don't think is quite as good as their first. And in English, their name is BIERBOOD, something like that. I'm getting thirsty. Man, I can't get through a video, man. What we got here is Chang Lager Beer. Product of Thailand. Pretty good. Whew. And I don't know if I mentioned, but this is a psychedelic band from Thailand. I can't remember when this came out. All the writing's in Thai. I can't understand a word. But yeah, it's really cool, man. Really cool album cover. I mean, these 10 albums, they're not only a great start because of the music to start your collection with, but also because of the album covers and the beautiful colored vinyl. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. Guru is the label. This album is actually more like an EP. It's got the great guitars that the first one has. I don't think the vocals are quite, they haven't nailed it, you know, quite as good as they did in the second record. There's a female keyboard player on the second one. She's not here on this one. I don't know how much that has to do with it. But yeah, it's a great record. But I would go with their first one. Now, another record I was happy to see getting reissued. It was reissued 8 years ago. And Randy Deadwax played it on one of his streams. And I think the first person that I saw show it was Flipside CT. And it's George Brigman, Jungle Rot. I don't know if you can see that. This lighting, I might have to redo this video. I don't know. This is came out in 75. Some of this is that hard and heavy sound, but it's kind of twisted. I had heard that this record was produced while under the influence of angel dust. Lots of angel dust was involved. And that's a drug that you can't add 2 + 2 when you're on angel dust. You can't even think right, man. And yeah, this is all very distorted. The vocals are all kind of weird. It's a really weird record. George Brigman plays all the guitars, the bass, and he does almost all the vocals. There's vocals. One other guy does the vocal on the very last song, and the vocals aren't that great on that song. And it's kind of like a standard blues. But the rest of the album, man, is pretty good. Now, that guy that does sing that last song, I'm Married To, he plays a harmonica, and he does a really good version. He does a really good job of playing harmonica. But yeah, it starts off with Jungle Rot and DMT. These are like twisted hard rock songs, and the guitars are all distorted. The vocals are all distorted. It's just fantastic, man. I love it. And I didn't mention it, but I ordered this from Noble Records. There you go. And yeah, he recently put this out. I mean, I kind of, when the one came out 8-9 years ago or whatever, I kind of slept on it, and then the reissues went up. I think originally there was like 1,000 of these only, so it's a very rare record. The labels are Solid Records. Maybe that's what it was originally on. But yeah, this is done with, in conjunction with Solid Records and Noble Records. George Brigman. I'll leave some samples, I think. And it comes with this really cool book. And some really good words. I actually read them. Now, when I tried to order that record, it didn't go through. I don't know. I was on the phone. It said, nah, some kind of error and whatever. So I just, fuck it. So the next day I went back. You know what? I'm going to order that. And I ordered it again. Well, both orders went through. So I have 2 copies of this. I have this one here, still sealed. I was thinking of writing to Dylan and saying, hey, could I exchange that for a shirt or something? But I thought, you know what? I don't want to hassle with them. And I was also thinking this could be a prize for my 10-year anniversary contest. But I think maybe my 10-year anniversary already went by, so I don't know. Now these last 2, these are the 2 records I've had the longest, and in all honesty, I bought these last year, but I never got around to showing them. And the first one is the Return of Pachyman. It's an LA artist, and this is a instrumental dub reggae. And this is fantastic, dude. AJ recommended this to me. He works at Going Underground Records. He's in the band Soul Chance. And yeah, he said you'll probably dig this. And I really do. It's a really cool reggae dub album. No singing. Now he has another album out, and I asked my friend about that one, and he goes, I would listen to that one first. He goes, I don't like it as much. But he goes, you might like it. So I haven't done that, but it's on black vinyl. The Return of Pachyman. Very cool. And I'll leave some samples. Now these 2 records that I'm showing last, they've been in my inbox the longest. In fact, they're the last ones from last year. They're complete opposites of one another. This one's nice, cool, and smooth. This one is abrasive, in-your-face noise. This is Nod. It's live at Roadburn 2022, Nod. Pretty basic rock-looking record. These guys are not a pretty basic rock band, though. They vary. I didn't get their last studio album. I mean, it came out like in the middle of the month or something. And what I'll do is when I get my Social Security, I might buy 1 or 2 records off of that, and the rest I'm getting from exchanges and stuff. And when that one came out, I said, well, I'll check it out, at the beginning of next month, and it was already sold out. And it's kind of like more of their ambient type experimental sounds, kind of like the Infinity Machines, yeah, like Infinity Machines. And I thought, I don't really listen to that album anymore. I don't need it. I mean, when you buy a Nod album, the shipping is quite a bit because they're normally you're getting them from the UK. But anyways, this is a loud, really aggressive, droney at times, but very loud and distorted and just fantastic, man. This is the kind of shit I like with Nod. I'm not always in the mood for it. And I haven't been in the mood for Nod recently, so I haven't really listened to any Nod. But yeah, man, check out that. Man, you got some really nice colored vinyl, man, for your first 10 records, you know? You're going to have this is a really great start to a record collection. You know, yeah, you can get Eagles and Beatles and Led Zeppelin. You can get them anytime. Start with something original and build from there. Take care, everybody. I hope I did these records justice. Probably didn't, but that's okay. You know what? I think I need some more Chang. Whoa. Wow. That thing's almost gone in 2 swigs. Take care, everybody.